representing Bamboo. So
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
think Alex has a Haven shirt as well,
I
so
do.
maybe a hoodie. Yeah,
I
yeah,
do. It's your
yeah. We got to
chance
get.
to advertise for free fuel on the channel. You should have worn your bamboo shirt and you're wearing Ralph Lauren.
yeah,
Awesome. So we've got 50 odd watching, guys. If you want to hit that like button and get that out in the community, share this with any groups or whatever, guys, and we'll get into a few of the questions that the community have given you guys. So first of all, congrats on the partnership, I guess.
yeah.
When did you guys first become aware of each other? Because you are based in different cities.
Yeah, I think around just over a month ago, we started talking. We actually got introduced by some guys who have been working with us for 6 months, who had also been doing some stuff with Haven, and they connected us. And yeah, we just immediately saw that there was synergies there in two Australian projects. Got talking.
And for you, Kane, I guess the questions coming in is why the partnership and what's the sort of mutual benefit there going forward?
I think for us, more broadly, partnerships are where we have an expectation that people are going to sort of first come in contact with Haven and NUSD. We want to be a piece of infrastructure that people can build against. In the case of Bamboo, they've got some interesting ideas of what they can do with a stablecoin, within their ecosystem. So for us, we want to facilitate as many partnerships as possible and allow people to build things so that their users can then get the value of a stablecoin. That's the idea.
I guess that's the next question coming in. So what's in it for sort of Haven and the Bamboo users or supporters, I guess, feel in terms of if their portfolio is growing and they want to park some in a stable coin, that would be the most obvious use case. But
Yeah, I mean, there were a few things that were envisaged when we got talking. I guess one of them was the concept of a safe haven, pun intended. In that, yeah, we sort of thought that if people are seeing sort of more volatility than they're comfortable with, having an option to be able to move all of or some of their holdings into a stablecoin gives them some peace of mind. Or being able to allocate a percentage of what they're doing, it means that they have a savings aspect and an investment aspect. So if you had like 50% in a stable coin and 50% in your cryptographic holdings, it gives you savings plus investment. I thought that
awesome.
seems pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a bit like having your your super, and you can choose to go into something more stable versus aggressive cryptocurrencies and start to tinker with those balances as well. So, question here about where's the broader, what's the market doing at the moment, ecosystem, and what are the sort of things that I know it's what we're noticing behind the scenes. It's more exciting than ever, but the charts and the market prices are going down. So, where do you guys think we're at the moment?
I think for me, the sort of macro market seems to be a bit of a consolidation back into BTC and ETH, which even though that is kind of causing them to go sideways, it definitely seems to be a consolidation from the longer tail assets, which, kind of I think makes sense. Right? People are going back to something that they know, that they've got a bit more confidence in, that's they've probably had a lot more experience with. So that kind of makes sense. I think the interesting thing, as you say, in the background of all of this is there's so many projects that we're talking to that are working on amazing things. So we've now had kind of a year since the early 2017 boom, and a lot of the late, even Augur about to launch. Like there's stuff we've been waiting for a long time that's really getting close. So so there's super exciting stuff going on, and I think this is really about us kind of fulfilling the promise of the last 18 months. Over the next 6 months, with actually delivering some utility for users.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. There's a couple of projects that weren't even really part of that hype cycle last year that were just doing good things behind the scenes. Olga is that prime example, which is launching mainnet today. And I think some people were sort of saying, are we going to this 2-year crypto winter, like 14, 15? And it's like, no way, guys. Over the next 6 months to 12 months, all these projects are going to come online, and we can, already use, the NUSD from Haven. Because a few people, one or two people saying, haven't heard of Bamboo or Haven. But in a nutshell, guys, stable coin from Haven and all sorts of varieties of different currencies in the stablecoin, and for Bamboo, it's that sort of portfolio to collect your loose change and build a crypto portfolio. And that kind of goes into the next questions, I guess, which are for you, Phil, while Kane's video is just reloading there.
Sorry about that.
No, you're
just
fine,
on that
mate.
last one, Alex.
Yeah.
Just before we go on, I think the other thing that we're seeing is it's been interesting seeing traditional investment groups like Andreessen Horowitz start up their own funds. Like they recently raised $300 million to put into serious projects, and looking at their investment mandate was really interesting because they're looking for 5 to 10 year investment horizons in projects, and they've basically said that they'll be going in regardless of the crypto market's movements. They believe in the value that's being created in the space. They've just announced their first raise as part of the A16Z crypto fund, which was a $45 million raise for a crypto project called Oasis.
Yes.
And we're starting to see guys that are literally the people who built out the Silicon Valley investment space going all in blockchain ecosystem and believing in the technology, not for like a 6-month time horizon, but a 10-year time horizon. And that's the sort of thing that shows the maturity of industry, real value being created in the space. And that's why I actually think this is a really exciting time to be involved in the space.
Yep. And I think, you go, Kane, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think that was a typo in that release. It was actually a 5 to 10 week time horizon that they were looking at.
I think it's representative on the charts. I mean, whenever something pulls back 70% or some of the good quality smaller coins now 90%, look, I think it represents a good long-term entry. And that's what you're starting to see. There's traders that are saying, maybe one more leg down to Bitcoin, 5,000 or 3,000 in a worst-case scenario. But there's the people now that are coming in saying, look, we don't care. We're taking a long-term view. We think this is a good entry price. So, that first question there. So with Bamboo, how do you guys access people's bank accounts? And pretty fast process from what I've seen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we access people's bank accounts using the same sort of technologies that Acorns in the United States, Raise in Australia, and I guess the big one that's been growing pretty quickly around the world is Robinhood. So using the exact same technology platforms to access them for traditional share market-based investment platforms, we have the same level of access into banking, which basically plugs us into 95% of people's bank accounts around Australia and our other launch markets. So it's pretty simple, a solved problem. That's the easy part. The hard part's the blockchain stuff, the proof of solvency.
Safely and securely to onboard people with all the AML and KYC compliant stuff. So next question is about...
Even stuff like Pocketbook. I don't know if you guys have heard of Pocketbook in Australia or Matters and stuff. They're all the same technologies. They're pretty proven, tested, secure technologies.
Cool. And you've had a lot of excitement and support from IndieGoGo. Just quickly, who are they and what do they do?
Yeah, so IndieGoGo are one of the world's largest crowdfunding platforms, similar to Kickstarter. And they've been operating for about 15 years, helping projects raise money in the traditional crowdfunding space. So, you see those crazy headphones that come out or whatever, lots of hardware products. And IndieGoGo is moving into the token sale or ICO space. So if anyone's interested, take a look at ico.indiegogo.com. But they're launching their whole platform, and we're one of the first projects that are to be listed on that platform. And we've got our signed terms with them, and we're just working with them to get on that platform as soon as possible, which is exciting because they, as sort of the people who built out crowdfunding over the last 15 years, really see the opportunity in where token sales and ICOs can empower projects like Bamboo. So to be one of the first projects to launch on their platform, it's pretty exciting.
Cool. I'm just going to whip through all these Bamboo questions, Kane, and then I'm going to shoot over to you. So,
no worries.
You can alternate if you want, mate.
Up to you. I think it's flowing well, some of these questions here, and I'm in a few chats at once. So, the team's experience in terms of consumer-facing applications, which is going to be key for Bamboo's success.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the two guys that are the main people working on the product from a user interface and actual back-end product perspective, we've got Linus on the front end who was at Typeform, which if anyone's filled out a KYC process in the last 6 months has being pretty instrumental in taking something as boring as filling out a form and making it into an enjoyable process. And Linus was actually instrumental in the version 1 and the recently released version 2 of that. So he's been with them as they've taken on sort of 6 million users. And that's why if you check out our video of our onboarding process, it's actually fun as distinct from onerous, which we thought was pretty important. And then on the back end, Will has been a guy who's sort of released a whole bunch of top 10 apps on the App Store for iOS in the last few years. I think it's something like top 5 apps in the last 8 years. I always get the order the wrong way around, but he knows what he's doing when it comes to building apps, and they've been in the gaming and gambling sort of space, interestingly, which is all about gamification, user referrals. So lots of consumer app experience building there, and then an awesome team behind them. So
now with blockchain, we all know one of the big benefits is solvency and that immutable ledger. So you guys have got proof of solvency. So what's the main benefit for what you're doing?
Yeah, so we're building it out. We don't have it. It's an ongoing thing. But proof of solvency is basically where we're able to use the blockchain and its technologies to show that our assets that we hold for all of our users are greater than our liabilities. To be solvent means that your assets exceed your liabilities, put simply. And we're actually using blockchain technologies to demonstrate that in real time, as distinct from what traditional financial institutions have to do, which is like a quarterly report to a government body and say, oh, this is sort of here and this is sort of there. We're using blockchain to make that real time. And that's what we call proof of solvency.
You don't want to be in the same category as Fort Knox or Tether. You want to avoid that altogether.
Yeah, where there's sort of like months that go on and they're like, have they really bought $200 million of USD to back this? Which I'm sure Havven can talk more about than us.
Yeah, final question, and I'll throw it over to you, Kane. The BAM token, and does that represent the funds, or how does that work?
No. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad someone asked that. It's a common misconception. We're not like, I think it's Crypto 20, where they sort of had a tokenized fund and holding the token represented the fund. We're more like BNB, and most people who are listening have probably got a Binance account and they've seen that the BNB token is a fee that's used in the platform when you're trading. And I don't know if anyone uses on-chain FX instead of CoinMarketCap, but I was just on that before we jumped on, and I saw that BNB token is the best performing token since all-time high. It's only down 42% from its all-time high compared to the next closest, which is down 60%. And I guess why that's important is because it's such a native token to their platform, and so many people use it, that even in a downward market, they've got a constant demand and liquidity there. So our platform is powered with the BAM token, and all of the fees that are levied are in BAM, but it doesn't represent the funds under management.
Binance Coin's still done 100x in a bear market. So
yep,
you've got to be happy with that.
Pretty impressive.
That's sort of what we based it on.
So I'll get you up on the big screen here, Kane, and we'll throw you some questions. So when is the NUSD, which is your first national currency stablecoin, I guess, is that how you guys describe it? Or when is that going to list on exchanges?
So we've got a couple exchanges that we're talking to right now. We also had an airdrop that we planned. So we're trying to kind of sync those two activities up. So we've got a bunch of people with NUSD in their wallets that can start to trade. So we're pretty confident that will be quite soon. One of the exchanges is super excited about stablecoin technology, and they're doing a full review of the space again. So we've been speaking to them for a couple of months now. So there's a couple that are getting very close.
Sweet. When Binance is the question, yeah.
Well, I mean, we had the Binance competition recently, and we came third, which obviously wasn't enough to qualify us for an immediate listing. But that's something that everyone's pretty excited about. We want to get listed on a couple of larger exchanges, Binance being one of them. So I think it's hard to say. Even if I knew the exact date, I obviously wouldn't be able to say. But it's something that we're definitely working on.
We're just Nuggets News and the team. We're working with a few exchanges here in Australia that are so keen to support all the Australian projects as well. So I think we're going to have more liquidity and listing options and stuff for those Australian projects, which is probably music to a lot of people's ears.
Absolutely.
Do you plan on launching a mobile wallet?
We don't, and that's because it's not our core competency. It's not what we do best. There's a whole bunch of wallets out there that I think are going to be able to support stablecoins, including NUSD and various currencies. For us to spend effort on that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are realizing that all these things can't be taken for granted. I think EOS is coming out with their wallet this week, but some of these projects that have got billions and billions of dollars, it's not just a matter of making a wallet. It doesn't just happen, sort of thing. So you got to focus.
I think it also becomes an attack vector as well. Security, as we've seen even in the last couple of days, is so critical. Whether you're a token or a blockchain or whatever, you just open up that attack surface when you start creating, wallets and holding keys and all kinds of stuff. So that's something that we will happily offload to other people.
Yeah. When should we expect multi-currency support, and which one will be next after the US dollar?
So we're actually in the process of doing a review of our roadmap. There's a few opportunities we have to move some things around. So we're pretty confident that we will have a trial of an AUD. So we're going to make an AUD stablecoin that will be a little bit ahead of where our roadmap was sort of saying, which was the end of the year. So that's something that we're working to try and get out a little bit sooner as kind of a proof of concept before we roll out the additional currency. So hopefully we can get that one ahead of time.
That's going to be music to people's ears in the chat here. Is that because Australia is so, I say crypto mad, but I seriously think we've got such a huge market. There was 100 exchanges saying that they're coming online in Australia the other day. Crazy. So
yeah, we over-index. There's no question. We adopt technology in a much more aggressive fashion than a lot of other markets. So it's a big opportunity. Plus, we're here. We're in Australia, so it's I think it's something that just makes sense for us. It's going to allow us to test some real world use cases, e-commerce stuff. So there's a whole bunch of advantages to having AUD, and it allows us to start testing the currency conversion as well.
Cool. So the Australian Central Bank said they're not going to do it, so maybe they knew you guys are already going to do a good job.
Yeah, we're definitely going to beat them to the punch on that one. I think we moved a little bit faster than the central bank, thankfully.
Glacial is the word that people use. What's the next big use for Havven? Any exclusives for people tuning in today? Or why are you overseas at the moment, Kain?
So we're doing just a normal roadshow. We've had a plan for the last 3 or 4 months just to go and visit a bunch of partners and what have you. The bit of news that I can probably share is one thing we're working on that is, I want to say less than a couple of weeks away, hopefully, is we're going to start opening up applications to be whitelisted to issue NUSD against your havens.
Okay, cool.
So we're not going to do a full sort of wide-ranging launch. We're going to just open it up and let people apply and see what sort of interest we get, and then depending on that interest, we'll start to roll it out. So there's probably a couple of people back in the office in Sydney that are jumping up and down right now. Sorry, guys, but yeah, hopefully we'll have that ready to go in a couple of weeks.
It's the hardcore fans that are tuning in that deserve those little exclusives.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So we're super excited about that. It's something that I've been pushing really, really hard for.
Cool. Any other final thoughts from either of you guys there, or things you want to share?
No, I mean, any questions that are coming in, happy to answer. Otherwise, yeah.
I mean, there's a few questions still about stablecoins in general, and so Havven is the governance coin, is that how you describe it, or the project coin, whereas the Nomans and the NUSD and the N Aussie dollar, they're going to be the stable coins, guys. Anything to add there, Kain?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the Havven token allows you to participate in the ecosystem. It's what backs the network and the stablecoin value.
I noticed you guys gave away a few Havven to people at a meetup the other day. Or is community engagement something that's just becoming so important because there's saturation of projects in the space, and people are getting a bit sick of the same old marketing and that sort of thing? You're trying to point a difference?
Yeah, I think, that was a promotion we did with CoinSpot. So, CoinSpot have been great supporters of us since the beginning. Obviously, we work with them on the blue chip side as well. So, they're great guys. Claude and the guys over there are awesome. So they were doing a couple of events, and we just chipped in to sponsor that. But yeah, as you say, you want sort of novelty. I think there were 15,000 people, or maybe even 30,000 across the 2 days in Sydney and Adelaide. So some of them are crypto people, some of them not. So it just gets a bit of a wider audience.
I've heard there's a few interesting things coming in Australia in terms of marketing, and if there's 100 exchanges fighting for market share, I can't wait to see some of these creative marketing campaigns.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
That's probably it, guys. I appreciate you both coming on, and thanks for coming, Phil. I know it's only afternoon over there in Perth versus cold evenings down here in Tassie, and you're in a nice hotel over there in Singapore, Kain. So
yeah, I don't even know what time it is, like maybe 3 o'clock or something. So thanks, Alex. As always, appreciate you having me on.
No worries. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thanks for having us, mate. And I think the other thing to mention is with Facebook and Instagram reversing their crypto ban and starting to look at it seriously and allowing for applications and everything. I know we've submitted, Havven have probably submitted, but so long as you can demonstrate you're a legitimate company that actually exists as distinct from fraudulent, Facebook will let you advertise your products and services, not token sales. But I think that starts to create a lot of buzz and interest, and you can actually get out. I don't think that can be underestimated. So we're excited about that as well.
The race is on to capture users, I think.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
No
Appreciate
problems,
it.
mate. Thanks for having us. And
Cheers.
thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys.